All right, hey traders, TG Watkins here. Let's see, it is February 22nd when I'm recording this. Hope you guys are doing well. And we have a bit of a heavy market out there, don't we? Friday was really, really big to the downside, and to be honest, it kind of caught me a little bit by surprise. We had been seeing some strangeness happening about Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we saw some weakness Thursday, and then Friday really put the icing on the cake. And so we're going to be talking about that. I did actually leave them early because I'm up in Whistler skiing with my wife's family, and so I definitely missed all the fireworks for the end of the day Friday. For those of us in the Moxie room, yeah, we got stopped out of a couple positions. That's okay. We're going to be talking about those in through here. For everybody else out there, we're going to go through the indices and we'll talk about a few other things, breadth and whatnot, and see if there's anything that we can kind of put any reasons or answers on about this. As you can see, this is for educational purposes only, and these are going to be some of the topics that we talk about in the beginning, and then we can go from there. Okay, so let's get over with kind of the news situation from what I was going to be talking about. The first thing, if we talk about tariffs, we know that, of course, basically the whole situation with tariffs is just going to be a thing for the foreseeable future. And I think my understanding is that the market was obviously heavy on Friday, and what I was looking at is that it was potentially going to be stopping at a certain point. And so if you look here, let me get these set up on like this right thing. When I was with on the mic live, I was on the mic 2 hours Friday before I left, and what I was seeing was that price had come down to this trend line, and it was basically down to about the SPX daily 21. I thought, okay, that seems like maybe this is where we're going to stop for the day. And you can see we did end up kind of bouncing right from there. And I was on the mic kind of discussing the market right through here. And we knew things were heavy, the internals were heavy, all that kind of stuff. And then I left, and so now I'm trying to catch up on all the news from when I left, and then I get to the condo, and then I hear all about this. It's like, oh boy, I got to really check out what happened. So I think that there might be a couple things. My understanding is that there was more news from the Trump administration that came out talking about tariffs that are going to be being started April 2nd. And if that news happened to come out right about there, that might have been what really greased the wheels for the afternoon. Because yes, we already know we were heavy. We noticed that Thursday into Friday, price had gotten rejected by the underside of the 15-minute 50 and started coming down. And then of course my first line in the sand is going to be the daily 21. Well, that did not hold. Now here we are at the daily 50, and that is going to be another kind of line in the sand to see if this is going to in fact hold. So right now, obviously everything's kind of getting blown up to the downside, so it's hard to see exactly where things are going to stop. There is, as I said, if we, the daily 50, if you look kind of left, you see that there's an area of support there. There's kind of a congestion area in through here and in through here. So we could see a little bit more of a gap down on Monday, but I'm kind of wondering if at some point we're going to bounce. Obviously, this is getting pretty strong to the downside, and I don't exactly know all of the news to attribute it to. So again, tariffs, I heard about that coming out, and then I had a coworker who was talking about this, and he said something about there's like another thing about COVID coming out. I don't know anything about this yet, so I'm Google searching this, and yes, it sounds like there is something coming up about new COVID and bats in China. I don't know if that had anything to do with the downside of the market, but it is something that I want you guys to know about. If something's happening and the market's getting spooked for that reason, then okay, maybe there's something with that. But yeah, there was definitely something that caused the market to really accelerate that afternoon, because if you also look over here, here are the internals. And this just shows you that something clearly happened while I was gone. Yes, we started seeing some weakness. Here's Wednesday and Thursday. And this is something I was talking to my subscribers about because I was at the money show. Let's see, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I was at the money show, and then it was like Wednesday started to act funny, and that's kind of where we see that the internals were not looking so great. Let me get this moved over here. And what we could see, yeah, right there, you could see that we started to get some weakness here with the advanced decline numbers. So that's why Wednesday was a little bit funny. And then Thursday, yes, Thursday was in fact weak. We came down. We did bounce though, so that was a little bit misleading. And then if you look at Friday, we had the internals that were down, and we had stocks that were up, and look how they just all got sold off right there. And when I was talking to everybody in that morning, it looked like maybe some things had kind of stabilized right there, and you can see kind of something had stabilized. But then definitely some sort of news came out, because you could see right here is where things started to really break lower and really break lower, and that is what cascaded the market coming down. So again, I don't know exactly what all the news is. I'm sure we'll find out more either this weekend or early in the week to see what really helped cause the market to just do that last little puke for the afternoon. So I got that. And then I started thinking and looking around, because if you look at this, okay, so tariffs, okay, that's kind of a thing. COVID, maybe that's something that's popping up. Maybe spending cuts. We know that Doge and all that is really starting to kick in, and so maybe the market doesn't like spending cuts because that means less government money is going to get spent on things that the market likes. And then I was thinking, okay, well, what happened to interest rates? And so I went over here to the interest rates. Let's go TNX, CGI, and nothing really notable. In fact, they're coming down. So I was almost expecting like, oh, did the interest rates spike back up? But no, they are actually coming back down right now. So that didn't really seem to be a thing. And then I also said, okay, well, let's look at the dollar and see if that did anything. It's like, nope, that's coming down too. So yeah, it seems to be some sort of news situation, and we'll have to kind of continue to figure that out from there. So as I said, if we go back over to the SPX, we're going to have to kind of see where this ends up going. Big picture, kind of zoom out. Let me clean this up. I've got a lot of lines up in here. And so one of the things that I'm concerned about is, are we in fact topping, or are we just going to do more slop and chop? Originally I was looking at this being pretty good about it because it looked, we did make new all-time highs. We did. And then it got rejected. So I don't know if the market is still going to be in kind of this holding pattern, or if we are actually going to start rolling over a little bit further, and that's what we're going to have to figure out. The other concern is if we come over here and we look at the daily chart. Let me get these again cleaned up. And this is something that we have been talking about in the Moxie room, showing you guys the Moxie indicator, is now noticing that we might in fact be getting an inverse trampoline move. Now, sometimes that means don't go short. So again, if this market doesn't like really roll over and go down, instead of just kind of chops around, it means, okay, the market's not ready to go up, but maybe it's not ready to go down. So this is a concern, the fact that it is now staying below zero, and we are probably going to start looking at the S&P below the daily 50. The reason why I've been holding off on saying anything too bearish about that is because previously we had seen similar situations like this, and all that the market needed to do was test some support, and then it was able to push up. So yeah, we don't know if this is something different now, and I do think we need to be on the defense as far as what's going on with the market through this. So that's that. And then if we look at the NASDAQ, let me come over here. This was another thing. This all kind of seems like it came a little bit out of the blue as far as just the last few days, because you can see that even the NASDAQ was doing pretty well up here, just about to make new highs. I don't know if it actually made new highs or it was just right there at the double top. And I could see a pullback. I think Thursday was reasonable as far as a pullback goes. And if you guys look at my X page, I actually called it that morning. I said the market looked like it wanted to come down. I said, hey, I think we're going to come down to the hourly 50. And then sure enough, it did it, and it did it very, very quickly. And so you can kind of see we had a little bit of a gap here, and we had a gap here, and we really just came back down here and tested it. And then with the way that it rebounded, I was thinking, oh, okay, we're doing fine. It came back, tested support, and came back up. But then, as you see here, we really had a pretty big down day on Friday. So we're going to have to kind of let the market settle down and actually see what the answers are and the reasons why. If we look at the XLK, since we're kind of looking at technology and all that and seeing what's happening, things were looking pretty good. We had all the things that in January, February that kind of brought the market down, but then it survived all of it. And this is what I've been saying to all my subscribers, that I thought that the market was actually looking pretty good, considering that it started moving back up. But if we look at XLK, and just like the NASDAQ, we couldn't really actually make new highs. It tried, but it just can't get past it. And so it's kind of like if you try and can't do it, well, at some point people, buyers are going to give up, and then you see it drop like this. And so maybe it's a technical situation, kind of with some wheel greasing, with some news out there. So I don't know. We're going to have to give this some more time and see where this wants to go. And then if we look at the IWM, this has been another one as far as the small caps that I've been keeping a very, very close eye on, and it looked promising right here, going into the week that we just had, where price started to get back over the hourly 50, looked like the Moxie indicator was about to cross over zero, and looked like everything was going to be good. But then again, Thursday, we had a big drop on Thursday, and that started to throw some cold water on the situation. And what you can see is, if we zoom out, I was really kind of hopeful here on the hourly chart if we were going to start moving back up. But ultimately, it looks like the daily chart continues to be resistance, and the market just cannot get past it. So yes, right now we are having to be on the defense and see where we're going to be going from here, and if this is, again, if this is going to be a short-term thing, or if we are actually going to be starting to change trend of some sort. And then if we look at the Dow, this one, we were talking about this on Friday in the Moxie group, and I said, not surprised that the Dow came down, because I didn't see anything bullish, but and it could kind of do its own thing. You notice that the Dow came right up into a previous high. That's going to be some resistance in through here. And then basically here, price was trying to get up over the hourly 50, but notice how the Moxie indicator was still below zero. That's an inverse trampoline move. Basically said, don't trust the long side yet. But I wasn't expecting quite the big move that we had to the downside. And so now we really are breaking some patterns here, and we do need to be careful to see if this actually persists to the downside, or if this is just kind of some shock. And then if we look at the SMH, and the whole, NVIDIA thing actually did well and came back quite a bit. We had a really, really good situation here on the hourly chart. Price got up and over. The Moxie indicator fired. We had price holding the hourly 50. Things were looking pretty good. Again, I was not surprised to see some sort of pullback on Thursday, because you can see even SMH was kind of right here at a previous resistance, and we were starting to pull away from the moving averages. And so I could see some sort of pullback and test, but that Friday action is really kind of surprising. So yeah, we need to see if this stays and gets worse, or if this can actually hold and have to continue to digest some stuff, because this has just been hot mess for a while. It's just been sideways and choppy for quite some time. Now, if we do kind of look around, not everything was negative on Friday. If you look at XLP, you got the consumer staples, you got the healthcare, utilities are up. So this is kind of why I'm thinking that there's got to be something out there that's kind of, I don't know, either spooking the market, or we got a technical thing that's going on, or again, we got tariff news or whatever that's causing the market to do this. But not everything across the board was down, which tells me I don't think this is like bear market worthy, but we need to say, okay, the market's still not happy to go up. But you can look at this, XLP has been doing quite well. We had a nice trampoline move there on the hourly chart. Nice test of the 50, nice test of the 50, and it closed on its highs on Friday. So if this really was really, really bad out there, we wouldn't see something like this holding up in the least. So that's kind of one thing I was looking at. Another one, if you go back to more technicals, and if we look here, this is the S&P with the breadth readings. And if I kind of show you this, and you can see in through here, we had the 20-day breadth, and we had seen it pull back for a while. Totally made sense, because it had run up so much from the last CPI report, and we saw everything come up off the low, looking really, really good. And then it kind of needed to digest some stuff, and that was totally fine. And then we were just starting to see this tick up. You can see we started to see 20-day SMA breadth move up. We saw 50-day breadth start to move up. And so, yeah, for the most part, everything was looking pretty decent. But then we got into Thursday, maybe even Wednesday, but Thursday, Friday, and you can see now that kind of rolled over again and kind of rolled over again. So I was a little bit taken by surprise by the action towards the end of the week, because underneath the surface, it looked like things were doing quite well. So that's kind of about the answers that I have. Now, if we come over and we look at, say, the VIX or UVIX, there was just a little bit of a clue there, but again, it wasn't necessarily saying that there was going to be a big move. It was saying that if it wanted to go up, it could. We could see here that the Moxie indicator on the 15 was looking good. We did have a double bottom, and you can see that price started to hold the 15-minute 50. You can also see that double bottom here on the hourly. There's the Moxie price trigger, and then it shot up. So yeah, we're going to have to see what kind of follow through. Again, there might be just a little bit more on Monday because of how big Friday was, and there could be some kind of residual. But of course, after a big move like this, you tend to look for a bounce. So let's see what we get on something like that. Okay, so now that kind of carries over for our market breadth and everything else that we're looking at. So for the rest of you in the Moxie group, if you guys just hang on a second, we'll cover all these individual names that we're going to be going through.